YouTube. Give me a sec. Let me get my Instagram peeps in the room. Come on, Instagram. You know, Instagram always takes a second longer here on StreamYard. Boom, there we go. Okay, we are live. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for coming to hang with us today. As you can see, I'm feeling like I'm looking like a little bit. Let me just get my goddess on. Let me get my goddess together here. Okay. All right. Okay. Goddess activated. Boom. There we go. All right. So I'm so excited. We are continuing today with our Faces of Oshun Oracle deck series launch party. And today is super exciting because we're going to have with us the phenomenal artist, Goddess Destiney Powell, aka at Poetically Illustrated on Instagram. If you don't follow her and you don't have some of her artwork in your house, start, of course, with the trilogy of decks we did together, Faces of Oshun, African Goddess Rising Oracle, and Secrets of the Ancestors Oracle, but then also buy some of her big pieces, her calendars, all of her stuff that she has going. So we're going to bring her into the room. The other thing we're doing today, which is going to be super exciting, is we're going to go through the first 6 cards in the deck and be talking about using the deck with the deck and your root chakra, okay? So yesterday we went through the 7 shadow healing cards. So if you didn't see that, you want to go back and check that out. But today we are delving into the root chakra. So let's bring Goddess Destiney Powell into the room, a whole goddess artist in the house. Look at her. Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Rise. Yes. So congrats, Goddess Destiney. We did it again, Goddess.
Well, congratulations to you as well. I'm so excited.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much. It is an honor and a privilege to work with you to see the evolution of your talent, the evolution of not only just your skill set as an artist, but also your contact with the divine and your presence as a goddess, really is the best way to put it. So introduce yourself to the folks, tell them a little bit about who you are and all that good stuff.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Destiney. I am a visual artist and illustrator. I specialize in making paintings of women of color mostly, but I like to think of them all as goddesses, but goddesses of different realms, of different aspects of our lives, like dreams, our fantasies, our goals, warriors, all different types of energy of women. Yeah, that's what I do. I like to share my light through my art.
You absolutely do. Now, people can go back and see, over the years as we've gotten together to discuss at the launch of every deck, your talent and how we came to work together and all of that. But I want to go down a little bit of a different path this year and talk about how you got started, like as an artistic child, or just give us some. Let's take it all the way back to wherever the budding artist began and bring us down that path.
Okay, well, my father was in he was in college for architecture, and they had to keep design journals. My parents had me really young, so I was about 2 or 3, and in order to keep me quiet, he would let me draw on the other side of his paper. So he said I always drew girls with colorful animals like pink bunnies and things like that, and they always had big curly hair. So I always drew Black women. And he used to tear them out and frame them so that I could keep them around, because he was like, they were so good for you to be a 3-year-old. And over time, they continued to nurture that. My mother was really into design as far as like homes. She likes to do interior design. She was a hairstylist, so she has her own creative area. But they nurtured it and put me in painting classes, I think around 8 or 9, with an art teacher. I took an art camp, and they were blown away with the drawings I was doing. And so they offered to teach me privately. So I've always done it. It's always been something I gravitated towards. I like to express myself with color. I was a colorful child. I picked out my outfits every day. They had to be colorful. So I don't know. I think it's just always something that's been in me, and I've always loved drawing the people around me and in the ways that they inspire me or the ways that I see them. And yeah, that's kind of where it started. I went through high school drawing, and then I got to college and I studied fine art. And I got out of school and I went into marketing because I wanted to do like the safe route and I wanted to get to make some money. And I was also a very young parent, so I did marketing for 5 years, and I was drawing at my desk all the time. When people came in to talk to me, they would ask me to paint their children or do something for an anniversary. So I started making more money doing the paintings than at the job. So I quit the job and I went full time in 2016, and I've been painting and drawing ever since.
Wow. Okay, so I'm excited to hear this story because I don't think that I've heard that story before. I love that about the evolution, the beginnings of you and your dad's notebook and sketching and all of that. Beautiful. And I love the way that your parents nurtured your talents, as the mom of a 3-year-old. It's funny because every Friday they send home all of her assignments and projects that they did, and I had sent them at school, at preschool. I sent them a little video showing all of her artwork on the wall, and they said, "Wow, you really keep those?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course I keep those." But apparently, that's not always the case. So shout out and much love to your parents for believing in you. And so when you made that decision to leave a good job with benefits and walk the path less traveled, what was the response of the people around you? Did they feel like, yeah, we know she's talented, or were they like, oh, don't do it? What was their response?
So I'll be completely honest. I told no one other than my husband, because because that's the person that was my right there support system, and he needed to know what was going on. But I told no one else because I wanted no one else's opinions to stop me, because I'm from a small town. People believe in working, so they don't think what I do was necessarily working. My mom believed in me, but I didn't want her to get scared and then put that on me. I wasn't ready to handle it yet. So I talked to my husband about it a year before I left the job. I was like, I feel like I need to leave. And he was like, okay, I'll support you if you leave, but I need you to do something for me. His analytical brain needed me to make a business plan and show him how we were going to make it work, because he saw me painting after work and he's like, you're working all the time. And I was like, yeah, but this is what I want to do. So I'm fine with doing it. So I made the business plan. I showed it to him. And then over that year, he was like, okay, well, this is the date that you can put in your notice and you can leave. We got the plan and I'm going to help you with the plan. So that's literally what we did for a year. I did shows on the weekends. We traveled. We paid for everything out of pocket. I made the art. I was making connections, going out to networking events and just, meeting people in the creative field. So I also started posting online. Social media was 2016. Social media was different from this one. It was much easier to get people to see you and to talk to you about what you were doing. And yeah, it was the right path, I feel. So it felt easy, even though it was really hard work. So I told my mom 2 weeks after I had already left the job. And I told my mom. I didn't tell my dad because he would have supported me, but he also would have had some limitations that I wasn't ready to hear. So I saved up that year of salary. We didn't touch it. Everything I made that year at the job, I put it in an account. We didn't touch it. That was going to be our cushion for a year to put back into the business. And then everything I made while I was working at the job through the creative field is what I used to pay my half of the bills or whatever. But for that time, we basically saved and did everything from start to finish on our own: advertising, marketing, traveling. And when I told her, she was like, oh, she was quiet for a minute, and she was like, okay, well, do you need me to do anything to help you? I want to help you out. And she had to think about it. So I think it gave her a week or two to think about it. And she was like, okay, this is what I can do to help you. So she started telling all her friends and sharing things on social media, because she really didn't know how else she could be of help. But she's a big word of mouth person in our small town. Everybody knows her. Everybody knows me as her daughter. The first thing they say is, oh, that's Shantae's daughter. So they'll support me because I'm her daughter. So I got a lot of orders from her, from people needing logos and things like that. And later on, now she understands what I do. And she's like, oh, you need me to be like a manager? I could be a manager. But she said later on it inspired her to start her third business. She has 3 businesses now, which was like she wanted to go into tax law. So she left the company she was working for and started her own branch. And I was really excited about that. So it had a little trickle effect. They were very supportive after a while, but I didn't tell them initially.
I think that that's an important lesson for folks, that even though, you know, you came from a supportive family and, you know, you're Shantae's daughter and everybody knows that, you know, that you still held your dreams, you know, close between you and your partner who you knew, okay, we're going to be in this together and we have a plan, you know, rather than, I think that I always recommend if you feel a little bit shaky, like there's no need to tell folks who are going to make you, whether, you know, unwittingly or on purpose or not, they're going to make you feel even more shaky.
Yes.
You know, you can wait. You don't have to tell everybody everything at every stage. So I think that is really powerful, you know, that you did that. And I love that your husband said, okay, make the business plan.
Make the business plan. Show me how we're gonna make this work, and I got you. Tell me what you need me to do, and I'll go from there. And he's always been supportive. He's still he's my number one support system. I can wake him up at 3 a.m, like I got an idea, and he can help me step by step get that idea out into fruition. Whereas my parents are more like, oh, I'm so proud of you. Let me call everybody and tell them you got a new launch coming, so we can go get the orders. Like they're more word of mouth in the community, showing everybody, wearing all my t-shirts, art all over their homes and offices so they can brag about their daughter. But yeah, I have a great support system, but I did need to believe in it myself first and then allow people to see me believing in it and then bring them in.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that's so important. That's so important. So tell us about the pieces that are behind you. This is
okay.
I love the evolution of your work. Let me just first point out, you know, yes, the Goddess KK saying the art is amazing. If you go to at Poetic Illustrated, she has a lot of art that is for sale as well. So, you know, please go and continue to support her. And occasionally once a year she takes commissions as well, so absolutely, you know, follow her and check out the work. Okay, so tell us what we're looking at behind you.
Okay, behind me is a series I've been working on for almost 2 years now, and it's called the Ancient Future series. So it's about a matriarchal society, and they are a futuristic society with ancient practices embedded in their daily lives. So we have the dreamer. This is Alora. She communicates through dreams. She's like the vision, what do you call it? The seer. The seer of the society. So she can speak to everyone about their dreams and what's to come, things that they can change based off what's happened in the past. She's like a historical keeper. And then we have Dark Venus, and she is the mirror of society. So like our reality mirrors back what we believe, what we see.
Yes,
she is the mirror of the community. So what if there's something happening in the community that's good and beautiful and flourishing, she mirrors that back to them. So there's 2 sides to her, the light and the dark feminine. And she is meant to show the dark and the light and how you can bring those together in unity and create something powerful and beautiful. And then over here we have Amara of Command, and she is the warrior. She's a warrioress, I guess I should say. Yeah. And she basically keeps order, but she's also the protector, and she's the trainer of our future protectors. So she is here to call out the energy within us that will allow us to protect ourselves, but also she's the one that's going to teach everyone the methods of ancient practices of how we protected ourselves by bringing everyone together to use their individual gifts and make the society more strong.
Beautiful, beautiful. Are they on calendars?
No, I don't have those on calendars, but that's a good idea. It's not done yet. I have 5 or 6 more. I have one more over here that I could show you, and she's Sasha.
Let's see Sasha.
It's huge.
And let me just share while you get Sasha. So I know that we've talked about doing a graphic novel or comic novel. So even while I'm getting mine together, you need to do this as a graphic or comic novel because you're reminding me of, I'll tell you in a second. Tell us this and I'll tell you in a second because I'm like, wow. Go ahead. Oh my goodness.
So this is Sasha. She's huge. She's 4 foot by 4 foot. And she is, I heard a quote, I read a quote in a book that women are more connected to the spiritual realm and men are more connected to reality. So this is her hair as a spiritual tool connecting her to the spiritual realms. And then this is like her appearance. She's otherworldly to show that she's not necessarily embedded into reality, but she's our bridge into the spiritual. And then behind her is a medallion, but it's meant to represent the cosmos.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm speechless. I'm going to just, I have a lot to say, but let me just take a moment and just take her in, take this all in. Absolutely beautiful. People are asking for a direct link. So at Poetically Illustrated on Instagram, but is your website your name or is it poeticallyillustrated.com?
It's poeticallyillustrated.net.
.net. Okay. Let me see. You can put it in the chat, right? You put it, I think if you put it in the chat, it'll go to both Instagram and Facebook. No, it'll go to Facebook and YouTube. And maybe Instagram as well. Yeah, absolutely just beyond gorgeous and powerful. Beyond gorgeous.
Thank you guys. The comments are hilarious.
Calendar with this art here specifically. The folks are ready. The folks
okay. I'll speed up.
yes, let's speak it into being. And what I was saying before you took my breath away is when we were talking about the seer, I have a novel that's coming out, my first fictional work in a long time, in August, not this year, August of next year, also with Hay House, named Goddess, you have me all like for clump. The Goddess Circle is the name of the novel. It's totally unannounced, not announced yet. So nobody posts anything anywhere. I don't even know if I'm supposed to be talking about it yet. But I know that I've told you for years that I want to do a graphic novel or a comic novel with your work. And that one, we're going to figure out a way to make it happen. Like, even if it's something that that my publisher is not wanting to do, I will pay out of pocket and we'll figure it out. Okay. We'll figure this is because the alignment with that novel also has a seer and stuff that I don't want to talk about yet because it's not unannounced, but just beautiful.
Well, if you want a painting for it, I'm working on, this series has evolved as the art continues to evolve. I started working on it 2 years ago. And then I got moved to, like, I went to one of the museums. It was the Met. I went to the museums and I saw the Renaissance paintings. And I was like, oh, I could bring in my African figures and tell their stories through these painting styles. Obviously it'll be in my style and it'll still have like all my colors, but it'll be more movement and more narrative. So if you want something like that for the cover for the novel, we can work on it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Oh, I just got chills. I got chills because I'm thinking, should it be, like we have a Goddess Circle card. We'll talk. We'll
get it.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. That was not even my intention, but that's what to me, that we need to do. Now, Goddess Destiney, your roots are from, is it Mississippi, if I remember? And
yes,
you live in Mississippi currently?
No, I'm in Nashville now. I live in Nashville. My husband is a veteran, so we moved a lot.
Okay. All right. Very cool. And one of the things that we've shared in the past, let's tell the story. Tell the story about, we've told it every year about us coming together. This year, I'll let you tell it from your point of view, and then I'll weigh in and talk about it. And while she does that, I'm going to show cards from our latest, the Faces of Oshun Oracle. She thought I was a spammer.
I did. I thought I was being scammed or spammed because I was getting those a lot. I'm getting a lot of messages like telling me to click links and stuff. And I was trying not to get my Instagram hacked. So I wasn't clicking on anything. And you sent an email that was like, well, first I was checking my emails and I saw like maybe 4 or 5 emails at every single email address that I've ever had. And they were in all caps, like urgent, I need you to open this. So I finally opened one and I was like, oh my God, it's a real opportunity. Well, I was like, well, maybe it's real. I don't know. So I was waiting a little bit. I think I might have went out, play with the kids. I don't know. I went somewhere and then I got a message on LinkedIn that was like, please, I'm trying to contact you to do this illustrations for me. Could you please respond, check your email? So I checked the email again and I was like, okay, so this is real. And I responded, and that's how we connected to work on the first body of work, which was the African Goddesses Oracle. And that is hilarious to me.
It's hilarious to me too. Goddess Tony said that's a Leo move. Yes, it is a Leo move because business aside, we will not be ignored. You will not ignore me. As a Leo, we will find all your links, all your presences, everywhere you are.
Everywhere, all the social medias, there were so many messages. I was like, oh my God, they really want me to read this email. Let me just...
So here is my side of the story. Okay, so my side of the story is that in the still, well, it wasn't even post-pandemic, but in the pandemic world of working with, I signed my contracts with Hay House and told them what I was looking for, and I come with a lot of charts and spreadsheets and vision boards and all of that, and they were excited enough to look through all of that stuff, and told them what I was looking for an artist, and I thought that they would have like a database of artists, which they do, but they didn't have any beautiful Black queens like this one at the moment, who were available to work on my deck or in existence as far as I know or knew at the time. And my ancestors had told me that that is what was required for this deck, that this is this deck, African Goddess Rising Oracle, is ancestral medicine. And these are cards that are, goddesses and divine ancestors, not only on the continent of Africa, but all of us throughout the diaspora, throughout the Caribbean, the Americas, etc. And so I was they kept presenting these artists to me that they were like, here's such and such, it'd be like amazing people, they're like, here's Picasso. And I'm like, no, they, like, it's not really good. It's not going to cut it. And I know on their side, they're feeling like, little girl, we just signed you less than 24 hours ago. We don't know you barely. Nobody knows you. Like, you need to just take the artist and move on, basically. So they gave me an ultimatum, and they were like, basically, like, you have 24 hours to, or 48 hours, maybe it was, you got to find an artist like ASAP. Otherwise, you're going to go with person A. And person A, let me just say, their artists were amazing artists, awesome people, but they just were not my people for this project. I'll say it that way. And they were like, TikTok, you gotta, you can do whatever you want to do, but we're telling you what it is. And I was like, okay, I'm from New York. One thing we know how to do, a Black girl from New York City is going to get it done. So I'm like, okay. And I had looked through zillions of artists on social media. And when I saw Goddess Destiney's work, thank you to her ancestors, thank you to her husband who said, come on, let's do this. Thank you to, her own self for saying, let me put my art online. Because when I saw her work, which wasn't even, it was amazing work, but wasn't even as, what we're looking at today, she has evolved, but with incredible work, it took my breath away. And I knew that she was the one, like the way that like people say when they meet their partner, they're like, oh, saw him across the room. Then we like, me with her work. I was like, oh, hey, how you doing? and I showed her work to the incredible Goddess Melody, who was my editor at the time at Hay House, Melody Guy, who is another beautiful Black woman. And I showed her and I was like, okay, this is the person. This is the person. Okay, good. Y'all can turn off the TikTok, the clock, because this is her. And she's like, okay, well, have you spoken to her? And I'm like, no, but that's just mechanics. She's like, well, if you haven't spoken to her, no, you cannot turn off the clock and say, all right, this is a done deal, because you have not even spoken to her. Like, you don't know if she's interested. Is she in the country? Is she, whatever? Like, you don't know what you don't know. So I was like, all right, I'm going to find her. And meanwhile, now another day had passed between me, sending it to Melody and blah, 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 and time was running out. It was like basically like 24 hours left. And so I sent her a message on Instagram and she didn't respond, but I could see she left me on red. And I'm like, oh, heck no, like, come on. And it was like, and then so I sent her another message and I was like, sis, I'm trying to get you some money. It probably did sound like a scammer in retrospect. I was like, sis, I got the plug. I was like, sis, I'm trying to pay you. I'm trying to get you some money. And she still didn't respond. So I was like, okay, let me find her. Let me track her down. So I went into, I used to be the researcher for my friends, meaning that, whenever they met a new guy, like I would be the one who would like basically I could do a background search and come back and tell you, what his mama did, where his mama went to school, everything. So I went and put those skills into use.
She's under pressure.
I found her phone number. I looked her up and I was like, oh, okay. I found out that there's still a White Pages. There's a White Pages online. I found her everything. I did everything except send her knock on her door, which I would have done if she was in New York. And like she said, it was every single email address that she had ever had. And her LinkedIn and her phone number, and was sending her text messages and was like, come on, are you gonna do this? Like, let's do this. Like, look, here's a link. Like, here, I'm legit. Here's a link to my site. They're legit. Here's a link to my publisher's site. Like, we're trying to do this. And then she responded like, hey, after like all these like messages, she's like, hi. I'm like, yes, hi, sis.
I'm sorry. I'm so Southern that I'm always feel like it's my parents' fault.
Thank you to the parents. Yes, she's like, hey, like, hello, good afternoon. I'm like, yes, girl, good afternoon. Let's do this. Like, here's what it is. I'm like, here's the information. Talk to these people. Tell them, like, like, come on, let's. I'm trying to get you paid here, and I'm trying for us to do something that is reflective of our ancestors and the goddesses, and something that's magical and special and hasn't been done, and you are the person to do it. And she was like, yes, I am the person to do it.
Yes, I was excited to do it once I figured out what it was, but at first I was like, I don't know if they're trying to get all my information or what.
Like, oh, what's your mother's maiden name? Just click here. No.
It was scary, but then I was like, oh, okay, she's for real. She's for real. She really wants me to look at this. So let me let me go inside and sit at this computer and figure it out. So
yes, absolutely. And again, the interesting thing is also that because it was my first deck with my publisher, that they also told me, they were like, the part of the story that I left out was, when I introduced her work to them, they were like, her work is amazing, but she's never done this before. And I was like, well, nobody's ever done anything until they do it. Like, that to me is not an excuse to not work with somebody. Like, who's done it? Like, no, there's no one who comes out of the womb and they have illustrated a deck before. and I think that, for them, like that was like, okay, that did make sense. Like, yes, she hasn't done this before, but who's done anything before? Like, you didn't do what you're doing before in your job, publisher, before you did that, and so I am so honored and so excited. We ended up not doing the going through the root chakra cards, which was my intention. We ended up just showing cards and talking, which is exactly what it needed to be. But I feel very strongly that our ancestors, are yours and mine, are as much collaborators in this process. Oh, the other thing I started to say is that one of the things that they said also, like, even like after signing the contracts, they were like, well, Abiola, you have like all, your spreadsheets and your, vision boards and all of that. Like, just, you have to, basically, they were telling me manage your expectations. Those were the words that they used, meaning lower your expectations. They were like, she's not going to, the artist is not going to look at that. They want you to just say, draw a fish, and they draw a fish or whatever. And I was like, no, not my good sis. Like, I just knew that wasn't the case. Like, I saw her heart, and she was like, no, like, this matters to me. This is important to me. Like, let's get in the trenches. Let's channel this work together. Let's make it happen. And I am so happy about that.
I love research. I love the story that you told with each one about how it came to be, what it's supposed to mean. All of that goes into making the art. Like, it makes the art show and evoke the feelings that you're trying to get out into the world. So I need that. I need it. I like it.
Yes, and we are both research lovers and love, like, going deep and getting into it. And it's beautiful. Like, like what's behind like each card, like really has its own story and journey, of coming into fruition. And I just feel like thank you for your courage in putting your work out into the world, because I know that is not easy. And I know that now you are a role model for other artists. So this three years that we've been working together, well, 4 really, has been, just a growth for you, personally and professionally. So can you share about that? Just how you professional? Yes.
Just over the years, I don't want to say naturally, because I know everyone doesn't always evolve within their work, but just from our beginning deck to this deck, if you have all 3 of them, you can literally see the evolution of the artwork. Like, my research got better, so the references within the art got better. The way that I illustrate got better, so the deck started to be more realistic. My style started to evolve, so the colors started coming through in the skin tones and highlights. Like, everything was like relative of the way I actually see. So I don't know, I feel like professionally I am more able to manage my time. It's easier for me to get lost in the research and then embed all of that into the artwork. My color theory is better. I don't know. I feel like over the 3 years, you've challenged me a lot to think outside of the box, and like bringing in your thought process, which is different from mine, but in a good way. It challenges me to do something better, something different, and to like think from different perspectives, I guess, of things. I can see many different perspectives and like bring those together. So it's not just what I think it looks like, is what other people may see it as, especially what you want it to be seen as. So I don't know. I like it. I like the evolution. I'm glad that we got together, and thank you to our ancestors for bringing us together, because we have a message that the world needs to see, and I am grateful. So
I am too. And I just thought about when you were saying that you've never once told me like no. Like, I come up with like impossible like things. I'm like, okay, well, we're gonna do steampunk mixed with Afrofuturism, mixed with throughout the diaspora and the goddesses, if they were whatever, and come up with, and you're like, okay, let me look into that. Like, you never say like, no, like, that's, I'm not feeling that. That's ridiculous or whatever. Like, I love that. I love that, because being an artist is the energy of yes, and the energy of possibility.
Yeah, I'm going to make it happen, because I like the challenge. And it's fun for an artist to like get to dive into their imagination. And because some of the things you asked me to do, I had to like I had to bring that out some kind of way. So I was like, oh, I get to go in my mind and play for a little bit and figure out how to make this look like what she wants it to evoke. That's fun. That's an exercise. Like, I don't know, I get a high from things like that. I like bringing things that we see in our brains, but we can't necessarily get other people to see it. I like bringing that out for everyone to see. So that's fun for me, and it's definitely a good like brain challenge. Like it's brain exercises for an artist.
Well, it shows, you know, two questions that I want us to answer before we go. Someone was saying, you know, the cover art and a couple of the cards resemble. Was that intentional? So yes, so the cover art is always from the deck, but this particular goddess is the goddess of, I told Goddess Destiney that I wanted, you know, the goddess from this deck, Goddess Oshun from this deck, I wanted her to make sure that we had a presence here on this card. So this is her as if she looked up and started laughing. So this is her as if she looked up and started laughing. And someone wanted to know what part of Mississippi you're from. I don't know if she talks publicly about specific parts, areas publicly, but
I'll say it's northern Mississippi, and it's in between South Haven, Mississippi, and Oxford, Mississippi.
Okay.
All right. It's one of those small cities. It's so small that if I told you, you could basically find my entire family, and I don't want to do that to them. So.
Yes, I understand. Someone is saying she looks like you, Goddess Aviola, and I'm not sure if you're talking about the card or Goddess Destiney, but yes, both
I think they're talking about the cards, and yes, it was intentional for some of the cards to look like Aviola. I did use her for some of the inspiration because her smile is magnetic to me. So I wanted the cards with Goddess Oshun there to have that magnetic smile. So yes, I did use you for my figure poses in some of these.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry, sis. Oh.
I didn't even tell you that. I was just screenshotting your pictures.
Thank you, Goddess. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your brilliance. I'm excited about this comic book or graphic novel and what that is going to be and everything else that is happening in your world. So tell the folks where to find you. Tell them what is available if they want to support you in addition to the Oracle decks, how they can support your work. And I'll hold up the decks in the meanwhile.
Okay. So in addition to the Oracle decks, I have a calendar. I released one for this year. I release one every single year. And the calendar I released this year is called Glamour Magic. And it's all about using glamour. It's vintage glamour. So we'll say Hollywood elegance with Black women. It's all vintage glamour. It's all about using your zodiac sign and your beauty to manifest what you want in your life. And that's available on my website, poeticallyillustrated.net. I'm also on Instagram and TikTok. I'm at Poetically Illustrated. I'm on Facebook, but I don't use it much. I'll do better if you guys prefer that. Let's see, I have shows everywhere this year. Right now I have a couple shows in Nashville. One of them is closing tomorrow. It's at the Zeitgeist if you're in the area and you want to see it. I'm painting this year. This year is just a big painting year, so I can't necessarily say where you can support me, but other than my website, I have prints of all three of these on my website. They're limited edition and they're all gold gilded. And I just released a gold gilded Black Betty boot painting if you guys want to check that one out. But my videos, I do process videos and things on Instagram if you want to check it out. That's the best way to support me, is to watch the content, like it, so I can keep working and keep, getting opportunities like this with Aviola, which is amazing. So that's basically how you support me. And if I have any shows coming up, I'll always post them in my stories or on Instagram and Facebook.
Can we see Black Betty Boop before we go? Is it a bit hard to see?
It's
okay.
Right here.
Okay. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, gorgeous. Well, thank you, Goddess Destiney. This has been awesome. I want to just let everybody know. So in the next today you're gonna get an email from me about the Oshun challenge, which I made it 10 days instead of 5 days. So next week is going to be about preparation, preparing for the challenge. Maybe Goddess Destiny will do it with us. You're going to go live every single day, and it's a whole thing. So I will send it to Goddess Destiny as well, and it's going to be posted on my socials. Her Instagram is at Poetically Illustrated, at Poetically Illustrated. Okay, at Poetically Illustrated. And the deck is, I'm holding this one up, but this is deck 1. This is our current deck, Faces of Oshun. Please get the deck and please leave reviews. Reviews are very important. Please leave your reviews. And I'm looking forward to playing with y'all in the next session. Yay! Thank you, Goddess Destiny. We need to do a card. Okay, so we'll have to do that again. We'll do it on another time. All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.